but here's the cool part. So it's going to have a deck that comes out, and then there's going to be a fish tank that runs all the way to the top. Cylinder tank.
What'd I miss?
The fish tank.
The fish tank.
Oh, we're doing the fish tank.
Yeah.
So I was reading that. It says, dude, honestly, it's $50 triple net. And then I read something where it says 2% increases every year, which, you know, if you add it all up, I really don't want to keep waiting or going back and forth for a week over $3,000. I want the space.
I mean, look, we can take it. I really think if we can wait a day or two, it will get them down. I hear you. I mean, like, we're not going to lose the space. Unfortunately, the song and dance process that we go through, but I promise you, like, we're not going to lose the space, especially over rate.
I mean, can we get an answer? Yeah, I'd love to save the money. I just don't want to be, you know, it kind of irritates me when it's like, oh, well, they're off in the Bahamas and we're still waiting on an answer. Well, you know, I get that. Someone can read. I can read if I was in the Bahamas. I want to get it done. I want to get a lease signed because you have to give the current tenant 60 days to get out, right? Once we sign a lease?
I'll get the specifics, but it's like 30 or 60 days, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 60 days before we can even start construction. That's why I'm like, right. Yeah, this extra $20,000 we'll save in a year is $20,000 I'm losing by not being able to get in my space and get open.
Well, do you want me to call them and say, hey, look, like, let's just cut to the chase, like, send us a lease?
Yeah, honestly, yes. Let's just make it easy, because you know what? I don't want to haggle with them, because there's going to be something we're going to ask for later on down the road, and the fact that we came and we're just like, look, what's your price? Okay, cool, we'll take it. We'll have more leverage down the road. So just get a lease to us today. Let's get it signed. That way you can get them out, get the other tenant out, and we can get started. Because I need to set up, actually, I need to be set up tomorrow. Our designer's coming in town. Can we get an hour in the space?
Yeah, what time?
11.
Okay, I'll call him right now.
Yes, get us a lease. We'll take it as it is. I want to get in and get the ball rolling. And when does it start the 60-day process for them to vacate? Once we actually sign the lease?
Typically once we sign, correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Where's your car at, Darby?
Okay.
How was y'all's flight back?
Fine.
You got delayed.
It wasn't fine. There was a baby crying the whole time.
Oh, I had headphones on.
We got on the plane, and then as soon as we all got on the plane, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, there's bad weather in Dallas, so y'all are just gonna be sitting here for an hour and a half. I mean, other than sitting on an extra hour and a half and 2 screaming kids.
Oh.
Other than that, it's a great flight.
Terrible. Those kids were just pounding on the back of this poor lady's seat.
Oh gosh.
And screaming.
That was kind of irritating because the
They have no
parents were
control.
they were watching a movie.
The baby I was ready to catch that baby because it almost fell off the mom's lap like something, and she had no reaction. The baby was like,
I was like,
I was like, oh shit.
I was like getting
Did you
upset.
finally get a window?
We had the big plane.
I
tried to
picked a
get
window
first
seat,
class.
but I had no window. It was just a
That
wall.
happened to
And
me
it was
last
like,
time.
and it was like the part where it concaved,
Oh,
so
God.
on my head just like kind of cringed.
I got
down
the
whole time.
only normal seat in the plane on the way to Miami that did not have a window. There was like window here, window there, gap. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense.
Thank you, sir. Hey, are they there?
You gotta sit in the back. You want to sit? No, okay. You want to sit?
Make him ride in the back of his car,
I
are you?
thought for filming purpose.
Sit back in the back and talk to Clovet.
What's up?
Sit back in the back and talk to Clovet.
All right, so what are we doing today?
We're meeting Nishu. He's our designer. He's headed over here to the new store. We're supposed to get a proposal back on the lease today. We've been talking to Travis. I think we're right there. I told them to just take it, and they want to negotiate a little bit more down. So that lease should be coming in. We're gonna go ahead and get the ball rolling on the design process. So Nishu's meeting us over here to walk the space, look at it, and just kind of get a sense of where our heads are at, what we're seeing for the space. And they just want to see the space, so.
Hi, I'm Clovet.
This is Clovet.
Nice to meet you. I'm Katie.
Katie, Marco.
Hi, Katie. I'm Clovet.
Yeah, hey Katie, Anthony. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, brother.
So we want to put a second floor back here, like coming out, right? We're not sure obviously how far it'll come out, but
Hold on, we should probably involve the PM. So I'm high level. Their project management, and then
Okay.
they'll have another design team underneath them.
Right.
Right? So everything will feather down. Any request you have, I'm the agency lead. Their project management, so they'll get all the fine details with you, colors, layout, things like
Gotcha.
that. Josh will be working on floor plans, she'll be working on finishes very likely.
Great.
And then all the major requests like, hey, we want to work in Tourbillon or whatever.
A Tourbillon, yeah.
Will come through me. Josh, they want to put in a second story, a deck.
A deck, right? But here's the cool part. So it's gonna have a deck that comes out, and then there's gonna be a fish tank that runs all the way to the top. Cylinder tank.
What I miss?
The
You know,
fish tank.
The fish tank.
Oh, we're doing the fish tank.
No, I'm telling him like my idea with the second floor and the fish tank backing into it.
Oh, yeah.
So that when you go upstairs, you actually have the fish tank. And
Did
the
you tell him
second
about the
floor.
And
floating?
you're looking at it, and the fish are going up and down.
Yeah.
Tell him about
Copy
the
that.
floating.
Yeah.
The
Figure out
second
the fish
floor
tank.
would go out to here. This column would act as up there is where this is going to be, all that above here will be second floor
Sure.
floating.
Yeah.
But then say maybe like right here is where you build the fish tank, and it's halfway. So half of the fish tank is on this side of that split, half is on that. It goes all the way up to the ceiling. So then you build the second deck to come up to where half the fish tank is sticking out. The staircase I saw going right here. So if you imagine this whole
We'll do that
wall's
in my
not right here.
personal
See,
house.
this is all gonna be elevated. I imagined this,
You guys ever do
all L, this
residential?
would be lounge.
Wouldn't you want to put
You gotta have a-
YouTube studio in the elevated kind of front corner? I imagine the backdrops would be right here. And then for all of your backlighting, for all of your front lighting, you'd actually have a grid.
But the point
right?
of the point of the YouTube studio being in the store is so people in the store can watch. If the YouTube studio is right here, facing this way,
No, so the good thing is, if I was filming you this way,
yeah,
I would expose for outside, and then you compensate with lighting.
and you could make that work. Okay,
Yeah.
because you want the YouTube studio
And we
facing
could also do
people.
curtains if we needed to.
You could also do a YouTube studio with a backdrop right here. You could have a backdrop.
Actually,
in the
right here-
center. I mean, like,
I imagined getting rid of, like, pretend this wall's not here. Everything's going to be open up. That wall's not going to be there. All of this is a lounge area. So that's primarily the sales floor. Up here's the lounge. Once a customer comes in and they're with a salesperson, they come up the stairs and come up here, and they sit in one of like 4 multiple lounges where they can deal with their client. But at the same time, you're still overlooking the whole store. Your staircase would do something cool like start like right here, down there, and kind of wrap up and around where it's all glass. So I don't know, it adds like a,
yeah. Elements.
so that would go up to the upstairs, but down there would be bar, coffee bar, another seating area for people that haven't been helped yet. This is going to be for people that are with the salesperson, they're actually doing a deal. Now I like the idea of somehow up here incorporating the
Imagine
YouTube
if
studio.
You're walking by. So one thing that's very impressive when you're walking by,
You
is
can
lighting
see it,
rigs.
yeah.
The lighting rigs. So you imagine having poles drop down, and I mean, like, I'm not talking about something that you do, like, you know, homemade or whatever you know people have done by
Yeah.
themselves. But I'm like an actual proper drop down lighting rig. And you have all those lights on in a studio facility. People walking by will see that and turn, what the hell is going on in there?
When you design this, imagine you design a YouTube studio right here, and it could have 2 different sets for us to do Marco's coffee style shop, and then our actual, whatever's gonna become, you know, like Roman's,
Yeah.
that's his set. Then we have like a collector corner. This is where Marco and I do our thing. This is where either one of us do an individual setup.
Yeah.
But on this side, it needs to, what would be cool is if it's transitional. During the day when we're not filming, you've got 4 lounges that customers come in, they sit with their salespeople, you do deals all day long. Somehow you can transition it to where when we know it's filming time, people that came in just to watch us film can sit all out here and watch us live. That'd be really cool. And be comfortable still. That's how you turn it into interacting with your actual audience. We're being filmed, yes, but our audience is, it's Q&A. But the cool thing too is you light it all up at night. Well, like you said, when people drive by or they're walking by, they can see it.
People are gonna love that.
And they can see when we're filming. They're all gonna wanna know like what is going on when they're walking by. So
We can
I
also
love-
post something outside where a TV's like showing
I like
outside.
this because
That'd be
you could
cool.
just lock
Yeah.
that door and you could simply have a sign that says use the adjacent door.
No, we're
So
actually,
people-
so we're thinking about getting rid of that door
even better.
for safety,
Even better.
getting rid of that door and building
Dead
man door right here, but open it in this way. So you have to actually walk in the hotel and come through the dead man door to get in.
Okay.
Do we know how strong this glass is?
Not strong enough.
So where are the lounges?
Up
So
here.
you're gonna have pods,
What?
lounge pods, with kind of a YouTube setup for the background filming.
Like, let's just hypothetically say you've got a lounge there, a lounge here, a lounge there, and a lounge there.
Sure.
Each of them need to be wired for video and audio so that he can be sitting up there from one master control.
We'll have VNC, Cat5, all that will be run into a control room, and he'll just be able to simply patch it wherever he wants. He'll work with Josh on all wiring needs. Within a store, you walk in, you need to have organization, right? So you go into Avi's, right? You see all the Royal Oaks, right? On one cluster, right?
I like
you go
that.
over, you see Patek. So I'd love, and this will all be in the discovery, but to work with you, say, all right, this is your current set of inventory. Obviously, I like watches, so I'll be able to say, this is how I would cluster it, right? Bring some organization to it, show that to you, and then you guys will say, okay, well, starting from this, you know, yes, that works, or no, it doesn't. Starting from there, then what we'll move into is, all right, well, in a year, this inventory is going to grow to this, and this is how we want to organize it. And just making sure that those sections work well to each other, the current plan and the next plan.
It'd be cool to kind of have for people, like a history, almost like a little museum.
Timeline.
Everything behind glass, but it starts from wherever, just, right here, starts with the Rolex, Patek, AP, Richard Mille, and goes through brand by brand, and we can go, and it could be digital, it could be part digital, it could be part all, I imagine all the memorabilia we can find.
Sure.
Books, boxes, like something to where someone that has absolutely zero watch knowledge at all, could start right here, spend an hour walking through, reading, punching little
So you
videos.
know what you should do? You should have brands on one side,
Yeah.
and you should have complications on the other. Because that's the two main things
Yeah,
that people that are
it's
new to
pretty good.
watches need to understand.
Yeah.
They need to understand what type
That'd
of
be
brands there
cool.
are, and
That's
then like
awesome.
chronograph, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Annual, perpetual.
Can we
et
build
cetera.
little working models of all the
We're not
complications?
building working models.
Not the big ones. You have a little bitty
No, I
tourbillon
get
on
what you're
display
saying. That
that's
would be-
rotating.
Well,
It
that's
would be-
something we'd have to buy like through MBNF and stuff like that.
It would
Like,
be
they sell that.
Yeah. Well, I understand where you're going. I think starting digital is an easier lift
Yeah,
at
that's fine.
first,
Okay.
right?
So somehow maybe here's how you kill a bunch of the dead space, but it's also open to where if and when the time ever gets bigger that we need more inventory space, maybe you build a walkthrough that's got, like you said, brands on one side, come around, walk all the way around it.
Sure.
And it's like, it starts with the brands, very basic, goes
Yeah.
all the way around and ends with complications.
I'm not a designer, right? I'm
Me
the
neither.
agency lead. She's closest to the designer out of all of us, but we have a whole design team. So
Yeah.
what we're doing is gathering all of your wants. We'll work with you on spatial construction, and then we have a whole team that'll solve and marry all of this, right? But the most important thing to understand right now is like your vision from like a 10,000 foot, you know what I mean, distance, right? And understanding how we're gonna break this space up and like what, because there's so many ways to skin the cat, right?
Right.
And we want to make yours different. And I think having an educational section where somebody that doesn't know about watches can immediately understand about the brands that they may or may not want to buy and the complications that they may not want to buy, may or may not want to buy, that'll instantly kind of connect them, right? And then we can have displays or whatever in the center, and it's starting to really make sense. And then based on, what people are hanging around, like, oh, this kid's in front of the Rolex display, you'll get an automatic cue of like what they're interested in, right?
Yeah, that's pretty
You
good.
could even line it up if you're starting, let's just say this is your brands, you start with obviously Rolex.
Yeah.
This whole section's Rolex, well guess what? If you put center cases here, Rolex.
Now, see,
Next
this
goes
is
to
actually-
AP, then APs are all right here.
That would actually make a lot of sense, right? That would bring, so that's the way my mind works. Like
Yeah.
a lot of organization.
Everything's in line.
It tells a story,
Yeah.
it connects people to the buyers, and it makes that experience kind of frictionless. So again, who should I reach out to for your current inventory?
Get Mike.
Cool.
You'll get in touch with Mike faster.